Let's continue our discussion of Ross Douthat's book, Believe. Why Everyone Should Be Religious. Today is the second part of our interpretation. In the previous session, we discussed two reasons Douthat gave for why intelligent people don't need to witness special miracles in order to feel religious sentiment. First, the world has order, and second, the world seems made for humanity. These two reasons once inspired countless great minds to marvel at God's power and grace. Until the rise of science. Once science, and especially Darwin's theory of evolution, emerged, intellectuals quickly realized how naive their earlier sentiments had been, even a bit self-absorbed. Religion retreated steadily over the course of a century or two. Yet the religious world never willingly conceded defeat. Douthat's book is a fresh counterattack. Today, let's calmly examine this clash of worldviews. First, the world has order. Science delivered two major blows here. The first was the astronomical revolution led by Copernicus. Out of a simple desire for a beautiful, orderly cosmos, the Christian Church insisted that Earth was the center of the universe, with the sun, moon, and stars moving in perfect circles around it. But serious astronomical observations did not support this tidy scheme. As early as 1543, Copernicus published On the Revolutions of the Heavenly Spheres, proposing the heliocentric theory. That Earth revolved around the sun, which fit the evidence far better. But since the Bible clearly stated multiple times that the Earth cannot be moved, the Church had no choice but to brand Copernicus a heretic. That stubbornness came at a cost. When Galileo, using a telescope, observed Jupiter's 4 moons orbiting Jupiter, rather than Earth, the geocentric model was decisively abandoned by the best minds. The Church put Galileo under house arrest, but what did that change? The second blow came in 1859 with Darwin's theory of evolution. Before Darwin, people thought nature's perfection came directly from God's hand. Just look at the intricate human body, or the jaguar's powerful muscles and graceful form. Who but God could have designed such things? Yet Darwin, with ample evidence, showed us that none of this was the result of design, but of natural selection. All life on Earth began with single-celled organisms and, over billions of years, evolved naturally. The jaguar's beauty is simply the result of natural and sexual selection. Those less fit were eliminated. More importantly, every step of evolution depends on random genetic mutations, with no need for design. Life's unfolding is fundamentally disorderly. People only thought it was orderly, because they lacked the big picture. Most religious believers refused to accept this. Some claimed evolution was false, others tried to ban it from schools, and many simply pretended the arguments didn't exist. But Douthat does not dodge the issue. He admits both the Copernican revolution and Darwin's theory are correct, because he knows how to respond cleverly. Douthat's solution. I admit the motion of celestial bodies is far more complex than the Church once thought. I admit planets move not because angels push them along. I even admit the jaguar evolved rather than being handcrafted by God. But what about the deeper order behind celestial motion, the natural stage that makes evolution possible? Stars obey physical laws, don't they? Life obeys molecular biology, doesn't it? Aren't physical laws and molecular biology themselves a form of order? Indeed, a higher order. Surely these aren't chaotic. Douthat argues that this higher order is what the world has order truly means. Earlier people misunderstood. Now, thanks to scientists, we see it clearly. Doesn't such a profound order deserve awe and gratitude? This reasoning is not Douthat's invention. Newton himself thought this way. Discovering physical laws only deepened his faith. God didn't need to micromanage. He only had to design the laws of physics, and let everything run on its own. Even earlier, in the 13th century, Thomas Aquinas had said much the same. God need not arrange everything. He merely sets things in motion, and causality takes care of the rest. In Douthat's view, earlier Christians lacked scientific tools, so they stumbled over evolution. Now, enlightened by science, we see that scientists were right. But in doing so, they actually prove God's brilliance. The Bible's literal words don't matter. Our understanding must keep up with the times. When you recognize the elegance of physics and the marvel of molecular biology, how can you not praise God's greatness? My own view. Molecular biology is ultimately just a consequence of physics, so you could simply admire physics itself. But that doesn't change Douthat's logic. Now to, the world is made for humanity. Here science delivered two more blows. The first comes from astronomy. If the world was really made for humanity, then it's absurdly large and wasteful. The observable universe is vast beyond measure, with nearly all of it utterly inhospitable to life. Even within our own galaxy, with its hundreds of billions of stars, only a tiny fraction may host habitable planets. Decades of searching have turned up no evidence of extraterrestrial life. Given the low probability of evolving advanced life, humanity is very likely alone. Would God really need to create such a massive universe just for us? Couldn't he have made something smaller, without spoiling our fun? How naive must we be to think the universe was made for us? The second blow comes from biology. Genesis says, God created humans on the sixth day. But we know Homo sapiens arose only about 300,000 years ago. The universe is 13.7 billion years old. Earth, 4.5 billion. Life on Earth, 3.8 billion. If the universe was made just for us, wasn't God a bit too patient? Dinosaurs dominated Earth for 160 million years. So was Earth made for humans, or for dinosaurs? Or perhaps for bacteria? Physicist Steven Weinberg once joked about this in Dreams of a Final Theory, 1992. If there is a God that has special plans for humans, then he has taken very great pains to hide his concern for us. To me it would seem impolite, if not impious, to bother such a God with our prayers. In this sense, Buddhism's, all beings are equal, or Taoism's, heaven and earth are not benevolent. They treat all things as straw dogs, seems far more reasonable. But Douthat refuses to concede. He counters with two arguments. First, modern astronomy shows the universe has a beginning. The Big Bang. A beginning suggests intention. If the universe had always existed, our existence would feel like an afterthought. But since it began, perhaps God did set things in motion, so that we would eventually emerge. Genesis oversimplified, but at least it got that part right. Maybe God was simply willing to wait. Second, the phenomenon of fine-tuning. Modern physics depends on about a dozen key constants. Like the strength of gravity, the ratio of dark matter, the fine structure constant, whose values seem just right. A slight variation, and stars, galaxies, or life itself would never exist. Why are they so precise? Surely because God fine-tuned them. He not only set up the laws of physics, but also calibrated the numbers so humanity could arise. Douthat says, "You see, once again science proves God's subtlety. This is indeed a strong argument. The numbers are remarkably convenient. But physicists have responses. Physics can't explain the constants, but it has a hypothesis. The multiverse and the Anthropic Principle. Perhaps countless universes exist, each with different laws and constants. Most are sterile or collapse immediately. Ours just happens to support life. Nothing divine required." Douthat rejects this, saying it violates Occam's razor. Don't multiply entities without necessity. Why invent countless universes when the simplest explanation is God? So much for Douthat's counterattack. Now let me answer back on science's behalf. First, our universe's constants are not actually optimal for life. Physicists have shown that, if some values were tweaked further, life would be even more abundant. For example, if the cosmological constant were closer to zero, galaxies and life would form more readily. You wouldn't need to wait 13.7 billion years. Did God fine-tune imperfectly? More likely, ours is just one of many life-friendly universes, supporting the multiverse idea. Second, the classic challenge to intelligent design. If the universe is too complex to be random and must have been designed, then who designed the designer? If God is even more complex, who made him? Some respond by calling God the first cause. Uncaused, eternal, beyond matter. But this is simply a different story of creation. So we face two competing narratives. Science. Countless universes exist, so ours needs no special design. Religion. God explains our universe, and God requires no explanation. Which do you accept? For Douthat, modern science strengthens, not weakens, religion. I disagree, but I agree that the elegance of physics and the precision of constants are awe-inspiring. Some say, the end of science is theology. Figures like Newton, Einstein, and Yang Zhining did not deny God. But their God was not the personal deity of religion. It was closer to Mother Nature. For scientists, invoking God as the answer shuts down inquiry. If every unexplained ratio or constant is God's arrangement, why study further? Faith risks halting exploration. A better explanation comes from physicist Max Tegmark's mathematical universe hypothesis. Everything is mathematics. Our universe is simply one possible mathematical structure, and our lives are just one unfolding of mathematics. Like God, mathematics is eternal. But unlike God, mathematics invites endless exploration without resorting to mystery. Of course, Douthat would never accept that. For him, not only did God create the universe, but a personal God continues to intervene in it. That's it for today's content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.